Let that light of joy shine in your life all the time. Oh, let that light of joy, let that light of joy, let that light of joy shine in your life.
I woke up this morning and said, you've got to read a poem today. And so when at last minute you're going to read a poem, it's a good idea to read one you love. And I love the poet Mary Oliver in her poem, Wild Geese. You do not have to be too good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert, repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me your despair, yours, and I'll tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies, the deep trees and the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, wild geese high in the clear blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Thus ends the reading. So February is the month of love. Hence the pink. I see some other pink. And within that love, we've been exploring layer and layer of love this month. Kind of do all the time under different words. But let's dive deeper. In fact, let's dive deep into the ground and see what love does when we plant it. Hence, my message titled today, The Intelligent Farmer. I turn to Imelda Octavia Shanklin. Of one thing you'll learn about me, and you may already know, I love the women of unity. The women of unity write so clearly. They've informed and guided me in my process as someone in unity, as a truth seeker. And she was the editor of Unity magazine from the beginning. For many, many years, she wrote a powerful book called What Are You? And she says this: being intelligent, he plants an orange tree when he wishes to grow oranges. He knows that he will receive apples from an apple tree. He understands that mind has forms of expression, and he knows that in all cases, the form indicates the fruit to be born. We know this. If you plant an avocado, you're not going to get a kumquat. Whatever we plant in a ground is going to be that. And I'd say that everything that happens in nature is also happening in us. So what are we planting in ourselves to born in our life? Now, I have to admit, at one time in my life, I had a lot of confidence in there's not enough. In fact, I have a diploma, master's in there's not enough. Anyone else with a degree? Now, from that place where we're, ooh, look at all this space. I can walk all the way over here and not fall off tiny steps. A platform. I thank you. Because this exists because we held a vision of what's possible. Now, it's not completed yet. There's going to be another step, and it's going to be covered in beautiful laminate, and there's going to be handrails on the sides. But we can see it's already rising up like a good loaf of bread. And that's what happens in our lives. We're going to foster whatever we plant in this creative thinking model. So when I'm thinking there's not enough, guess how easy it is for me to pay my rent? A little stressful because there's not enough. And there's never enough. And I don't have enough. And as long as I hold that thought, what am I going to get? Exactly. So an intelligent farmer plants the seeds of what they want to grow. A stupid farmer plants seeds for what they happen to have, not what they want to grow. So if they grow a whole bunch of bluebonnets, but their cash crop is supposed to be wheat, they're not going to be making much money unless they start charging pictures for the bluebonnets. You get, this is, and we are each in charge of our own destiny by our working model of what we hold in mind. Something to chew on. Let's turn to the Bible. Now this is from the scripture, Mark chapter 4, verses 30 to 32. Now this is the Message translation of the Bible. It says, how can we picture God's kingdom? What kind of story can we use? It's like a pine nut. When it lands on the ground, it is quite small as seeds go, yet once it's planted, it grows into a huge pine tree with thick branches. Eagles nest in it. This is what's possible. Now, every seed has in it all that's necessary to become what it's a seed of. So a pine nut, little tiny thing. And in nature, rather than something we put on our salad, it's ready to make a tree. And if the condition's right, if the ground is fertile, and there's enough water and sunlight, maybe, just maybe, after a time, it's down in the dirt. And from that place, it begins to grow. Just a wimpy little leaf when it breaks through the grass. Now, if we come along and we step on that, if the eagle tries to land on the little tiny leaf that comes out of the ground, what's going to happen to our pine tree? Seedling. Again, it's not going to support an eagle resting on its tiny little tender. But given time, the pine nut becomes what it is intended to do. It will grow and reach and span in its own way to be just the pine tree it is. Have you ever noticed not a single pine tree looks the same? So within each pine nut is the informed message for the pine tree it's to be. And then an eagle can nest in it. we look at nature, it might be a metaphor for what's happening in us. Because we're natural. We're organic. The same thing's happening, moving in us. So what seeds are we planting in our consciousness to create the life we want? I turn to the Greek philosopher, mathematician, Pythagoras, and he says, "Man, know thyself. Then thou shalt know the universe and God." So if you have the thought, I would really like to know God more. I would really like to connect with God more. I'd really like to know when I'm seeing and connecting with God. Know yourself. Find out more about me, myself, and I, and others, and you'll know God. And you'll know how the universe is working by your interaction through our relationships, through our journey with ourselves. And life is full of all experience. It's not always going to be a good day. It's not always going to be everything in alignment. But it does happen. But as that little pine tree is growing, there's all kinds of weather. There's all kinds of conditions. And there can be a condition, a big flood, scoop it up, carry it on, and it doesn't get to have its full expression. Life happens. But as we experience interacting with each other, we experience more of opening up to, I wonder what's home here with me today. We get to know the world. We get to go know how God's working through everyone, everything. Pretty interesting. I also turn to the wisdom of co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore. And he writes here, there can be no logical doubt that an all-wise and all-powerful creator would plan perfection for his creations and also endow them with the ability to bring his plan into manifestation. That is the status of the world and its people. It's audacious, might even be blasphemy for us to think that we're less than and not good enough. We're one with God. God doesn't make mistakes. God creates perfection. And divine ideas are always pure, and it's ours to work through whatever our experience is to find God in it. That's how we find God in the world and in the universe, and we get to dance with God more and more. God creates an amazing expression. And everything within the creation is the destiny of what it's to be. Just like the pine nut. That inside the tiny pine nut is the huge pine tree. Well, inside you is the destiny of God. What's it going to be today? I also turn to Charles, and he says, humankind is created in the image and likeness of God. Humankind is therefore a phase of God mind. And the individual must act like the original mind. We get to think it any way we want. And we can base our thoughts in thoughts of fear and lack and shame and doubt, which there's a lot of that in the past. Aware of the past? Yeah, it's over here. Everything that's happened before, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and maybe stuff still vibrating. And within that, we can spend our time, our energy, looking at the past. Also, there's the future. It could be, it might be, it should be. I imagine, I dream of that. Oh, I've got the shopping list. Right here in the present moment is where we're going to experience God. Exactly. Right here in the present moment is where we're going to be able to connect with God mind. Now that's not out there someplace. It's in here. God mind's already in every cell of our being is God mind. But we need to connect with that, the original mind. That's our origin. Those other thoughts connected with the past are like a real heavy suitcase that we carry with us everywhere we go. It's heavy. Ever carried a real heavy? It gets exhausting. And all we have to do is put it down. Let go. Let God. And you can even walk away from it and it stays right there. And guess what? Anytime you want, you can go back over and go right into it. Anytime you want. But if you don't want to carry it around anymore, set it down. It might require a little forgiveness. It's certainly going to require breathing and some other tools we talk about a lot, prayer and meditation, to allow us to come to this present moment and allow us to listen to the information, the ideas that light the path. This is our way of turning to that original mind that gives us our connection with what is. God is. And that's great. And so I turn to the masterful wisdom of Meister Eckhart, a German theologian. He says, the seed of God is in us. Given an intelligent and hardworking farmer, it will thrive and grow up to God, whose seed it is. Guess where I got the title for my talk today? A seed of God has to grow into God. A seed of God doesn't grow up into a kite or into a Brussels sprout. A seed of God becomes God. And the seed of God is in us, is part of our very makeup. And over time, it has to become God. But the inheritance we've been given, the power to create, God doesn't care what we can create. More pain or suffering, or light and love and service. Because on all eternity, our experience right now is just a not even a speck, we will grow into God. The seed of God grows into God. So let yourself grow. Let God be God in you. Let yourself go. And let God be God in you. I love kids. I want to scream like that. I want to play like that. I want to be like that because it's in that openness of being where I get to go, hello, God, thank you. So let's take some time right now and go into that time of meditation. And we'll begin as Ron and Emily guide us in music.
Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, teach our children to stop the fighting, start uniting, live in one. Let's get together, loving forever, a sanctuary for you.
The invitation right now is to set down everything that's happened before this moment. Just shut it down. Or anything we have planned for the rest of the day. Gotta remember, gotta stop and, gonna meet. Set that down as well. And breathe easily and comfortably in this now moment. In sanctuary. If home is where the heart is, then be home. We have a powerful connection in this space, deep within our center, to allow God, or any name we give it, to inform us, to nurture us, to heal us, to renew us. We all deserve this moment to renew ourselves. Breathe easily and gently. We can even let to rest any discomfort, any pain. any excitement, any joy. And be present to the seed of God in the seat of our soul. How can I be more aware of you, God? Plant this seed in our consciousness as we now take a moment in the silence. It feels so good to just be here now. And we recognize that this is available to us anytime we choose. We can just set down our cares, set down our woes, set down our expectation, and give a little more space to be with God. So let's allow that energy and flow of love to pour through our fingers as we wiggle them, and our feet. We roll our shoulders and might roll our head and become present to this room. And when we're ready, we open our eyes and we take with us the fruit of that present moment into our day. And when we're ready, we'll say this affirmation together. By claiming my divine inheritance, I accept that I am one with God. And so it is, and so we let it be.
Lead your faith. Step out